Macedo and California GOP Chairwoman Jessica Milan Patterson. Thank you both for coming on. So, Jessica, to you first. J.D. Vance said this about Pete Hegseth and the whole confirmation process. Watch.
All I'm asking is that people actually allow the Senate process to work. We do not determine important government officials based on anonymous sourcing from the American media. We determine who our officials are through the nomination process, the advice and consent process of the United States Senate.
And after the whole Brett Kavanaugh fiasco, Jessica, you would think the media would learn to be a little bit more, a little bit careful about what they're doing.
I think you give some of your colleagues a little too much credit. But it's very clear that President Trump is also, this is my number one choice. We have won this election. I get to choose and I get to nominate. We're also going to see this process play out. We saw a poll this morning that showed a plurality of Americans agree with him as well. So we're going to see this process play out. This is a tried and true process where the Senate will confirm, the president gets to nominate, and we're going to see how it all works out.
It's interesting. Back to you, Alexandra Macedo, but now because Karine Jean-Pierre was a little defensive today. She was pressed quite often on this whole Hunter Biden pardon, Joe Biden's credibility. And here's how the back and forth went. Watch.
The next time that the president says he will or won't do something, why should the American people believe him?
I answered that question. I don't have anything else to add. I answered the question.
Can you explain it in a way that's understandable?
I can't speak to you understanding the question or not, or my answer or not on this. I don't have anything else to say. I'm not going to relitigate this.
Seems a little defensive to me, Alexandra. I don't know what do you think about that, but that was like, oh my, yeah, no, I'm not doing it.
That was the most non-answer I've ever heard before in my life. This goes to that we have so much distrust of our elected officials because they say one thing and they do something very different. I don't think it's a problem for the media or the American public to ask. He said he was going to do this. He did the exact opposite. We have to build faith back in our republic, and this is not how you do it.
Yeah, and that's not maybe the last of it here, because you have Texas Congressman Lance Gooden on Biden giving the possibility of preemptive pardons to people like, Adam Schiff, maybe Liz Cheney. He had this to say.
Well, it would send a terrible message. First of all, it would say that we actually think the people that have been running our government for the last 4 years are guilty of something.
It would send a terrible message, but it would be awfully telling, Jessica.
Absolutely. He has about a month left in his presidency, and this is what he's choosing to focus on. Last month, Americans were so incredibly clear what is important to them. They want a thriving economy. They want to be paying less for their gas. They want a secure border. Instead of focusing on those issues in this last month and going out on top, he's choosing to focus on this, and it's incredibly telling.
If you were betting, would you bet that he actually issues these preemptive pardons?
Yes.
Really? Because he thinks...
He has nothing to lose.
Wow. Yeah, he's got a lot of chips on the table, and you're right, nothing to lose. Meantime, Trump going to France this weekend because Emmanuel Macron invited him there. It seems to me, Alexandra, that it's almost like Trump is the president and Joe Biden is just kind of off and running. Nobody's focused on him at all. Every focus is on the president-elect.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a lame duck. And that's exactly what Joe Biden has been since Kamala Harris announced her bye for the presidency. We're really excited to have Trump back on the world stage. We have been craving strength on the world platform. And the fact that Trump is already getting to work shows we have an exciting 4 years ahead of us, and having the respect of other nations is exactly what we can expect.
And I think the interesting part of this whole thing is that a lot of world leaders, you talk about Canadian world leaders, people who are not big Trump fans, also seem like they're ready to jump in the game. Alexandra, Jessica, thank you both.
Thank you.
I think